Hi, my name is Kim Lockhart, and I am an 8th grade science teacher at Georgia Cyber Academy, and I've been nominated as one of the Teacher of the Year candidates. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time to tell you about myself and the way that I approach my teaching as a virtual teacher. The reason why I became a virtual teacher is honestly because a friend of mine worked at the school and she thought it would be a good fit for me. And I was looking for a way to just to get back into education. I had stayed home with my children for a few years, and I knew that I wanted to go back into teaching. It's what I love to do, and I felt like this would be a good step for me to get back in. It was a lot of adjustment, like a lot of teachers in the virtual environment coming from brick and mortar. And so I think that the main reason is, or the main question I ask myself is not why I chose virtual teaching, but why I choose to be and to stay a virtual teacher. And it's really because of my families and the relationships that I have for them. And I do see the huge need that in a large portion of the population that virtual schools serve that a typical brick and mortar don't. So that's why I choose to come back every year, is because of the difference that I feel that I get to make in the lives of my families. And as a virtual teacher, I have really had to dig deep into my toolbox. It has definitely caused me to become a much better teacher. Often in brick and mortar, I would get almost into the robotic kind of the flow of teaching, where a lot of times my classes look the same, they have the same feel and layout. And as a virtual teacher, you can't do that. You definitely need a routine, but you definitely have to make sure that your students have something to look forward to when they come to class every day, because it's a choice for them. They don't have to come to my classroom every day. They can log in and they can walk away from their computer. So I have to differentiate my instruction in all different ways to meet all different needs of children, but to also engage them in ways that are unique that I can do as a virtual teacher, whether it's through getting on the webcam or doing hands-on experiments that they can do with me at home, whether it's through videos, whether it's just through building that relationship with them and making them know that, yeah, you're on an online school, but that I see you and that you are there and you're a part of my school and you're part of my class and I appreciate you. So that has really challenged me every day. I try to incorporate something unique and different that I did not the day before to make my students want to come back. But then on the flip side, it has been challenging. It's been challenging because I don't have them in their seat every day. They're not a captive audience. I can't go to their house and make them wake up. I can't pull them into my classroom like I could in a brick and mortar. They're not sitting in a desk for 45 minutes in my classroom like I was used to in brick and mortar. So I really have to make sure that I give students a reason to come back and make them understand that what I'm teaching them in science is applicable to their lives and that it makes a difference and that it is important for them to come. So that's been a challenge for me. And another big challenge is I don't get to see that light bulb moment that I would with my typical brick and mortar student. I can't see the look in their face when they're confused, and I can't see the look in their eye when they get it. And so that is something that has been a challenge for me, as to making sure I keep the chat room open and the lines of communication always open. You know, how are you doing? Do you understand this? Give me a green check. Give me a thumbs up. Talk on the microphone. Talk in the chat room. It has been a challenge to make sure that I touch all of my students, even the shy ones that might not be as open to talk. So that leads me into the next section about the different technologies that I use to engage my students. And everything stems from a basic PowerPoint, and within the classroom, our Blackboard room, there are different tools that these students can use. They can chat on the microphone, they can work together in small groups in a room together. They can write on the whiteboard, which I can save their slides. They can do all that kind of fun stuff, but I also am big about using the webcam, and we do a lot of demonstrations together because I teach science. We will also do YouTube videos, quick little YouTube videos. I will make a YouTube video of myself, and then sometimes I'll find YouTube videos that go along with our lesson, and I've got document cameras that I can use, to work out different problems. So, and any other time that I find a creative technology, different websites, we'll often go to different websites or play online games, and we're constantly trying to alter and use different new technologies to keep them engaged. The reason why I love teaching virtually is this next portion. It's the communication that I have with my families. I communicate with my families much more than I ever did in brick and mortar. I contact them on a daily basis, whether it's, how are you doing, or a response to an email that they have sent me to help them, or just checking in on you, or I see you're struggling, how can I help you? So daily I'm in communication. I know so much more about my families personally than I did in a brick and mortar school, where I knew my students really, really well in brick and mortar, but not my families as much, or the parents as much. So not only do I know academically how they're doing, but I get to know how they're doing on a personal level, which is what brings me back to teaching every day. And when I get those calls or the email saying, Miss Lockhart, I really got it. So, thank you so much. And so that's what I love about teaching virtually. And that in turn allows us to tailor our school to our students' needs. We ability group our students based on how they're doing. In my students, I have a co-taught class, so I've got students that have special needs as well as students that just might have a learning gap. And that's all because of the data we get on our students and because of the relationships we have with our families. And teaching virtually, I'm able to collect so much data, not only just through tests or quizzes that they may take, but I can take quick pollings of these students in class. I can save their whiteboard. I can save their chats that they write to me when I'm asking them a question. I do a lot of Google Docs. We'll send them surveys, and I can analyze that data based on what they've done in the Google Doc. There's a great Kahoot website that will make a chart for us of data. So constantly I'm gathering data on my students and then analyzing it as, who needs some extra remediation, or who could use some enrichment. You're doing really great in this. Here's some enrichment activities that we can give you. Or, why don't you come to this small group because you need help. So daily we're looking at data. And then the next one talks about, are there student achievements that support that I'm an outstanding online learner? And honestly, the student achievements that I look like are the communication from families of, Miss Lockhart, this was a great class today, or I really understood this, thumbs up, I really understand it, because my kids are typically unengaged. So if I'm able to get a student in class, because it's a choice, if I can get them to show up in class every day and participate, then to me, that's a win situation, that they have done something that maybe they wouldn't have done in a brick and mortar. And then there's the phone calls and the emails that I receive from families letting them know that this year has made a difference. Maybe it was their first year in a virtual environment, or they've been here for a long time, but that they have seen a difference by their student being there. So to me, that is my outstanding achievement. And then I have been given the award by my students as the most fun class each year I've taught for the past 2 full school years, and this is my 3rd. And that's something we do as a school. We send out a survey and a questionnaire to parents about just, their just different things that teachers do, and each year I've got chosen as the most fun class. So I guess that means students like to come, which makes me feel good about myself. The final question talks about my greatest contribution to the field of blended and online learning. I don't have huge accolades and publications like some of the other educators might have, but my greatest contribution is when I'm able to engage these unengaged families, these families that might have fallen through the cracks in brick and mortar, or the families that are on the edge of, are we going to even continue with school? What is our plans with school? And so that is my biggest contribution, is because of the relationships I'm able to form with these families, and to encourage them just to stick it out, to give this a shot, that this is probably a great option for your student. So to me, that is my biggest contribution to online learning. And I love collaborating with my other fellow teachers and people that I work with. And so together, I feel like we do a great job at improving the way that we teach and making every class better than the last in order to reach these students. And then the final thing is what concerns do I have for the future regarding blended or online learning. And honestly, I feel like this is the way education is going. I know that in my county alone that we have an online school just for our county, and we have, you know, over 10,000, it's like 13-something thousand students in my school alone in the state of Georgia that go to this school. So I definitely believe that this is the trend for not just higher education, but for K-12 education. So my one concern with that is to make teachers and families and students realize that it is a true school, that it's a real school. It's not something that they can take lightly, that just because they don't have to show up to a building every day, that doesn't mean that they're not learning and they don't need to be there and engaged every day. So that's my one concern, is just making sure that people take it seriously, and that it's hard work, just like any teaching job, and that as an educator or any educators, they really have to push to make sure that they're doing all they can do and their students are doing all they can do, which a big part of that is accountability. Accountability for teachers and accountability for students, which I think there needs to be some type of checks and balances. But I'm excited about what's happening in online learning, and I'm excited to see the new technologies and what the future holds for online learning in general. So that's a little bit about me. I'm sure I went over my 5 to 7 minutes, but I thank you for listening.